Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, MVP Channel 6, where we share stories and tips. My name is Sunny, and I'll be your host today. And if you're here, that means you want to take your life to the next level. Today, we're diving into the topic that can truly change the way that you think and achieve your goals. The topic is fear, and we want to, and how it can take control over your life. I know how overwhelming life can get sometimes. We just need that one insight to spark change in our lives. So if you've been stuck, feeling lost, or not sure about your next step, you're in the right place. Stick with me until the end because I've got some powerful tips that you don't want to miss. And if you're here, hit the subscribe button, turn on your notifications, and hit the like buttons. Also make some comments. But when you make your comments, please be respectful, you guys. This is a channel that is going to be for upliftment and not tearing people down. And I thank you for that in advance. So let's jump right in to unlocking our potential and removing fear from our lives. Fear is something that we all face, whether it's fear of failure, rejection, or stepping out of our comfort zone. Fear can paralyze us and stop us from living the life that we deserve. But what if I told you that fear isn't the enemy? What if I told you that understanding how to manage fear can help you take control back of your life and you'll feel more empowered? Today, I'm going to use some practical strategies on how to help you overcome fear and unlock the potential. Stick with me because it's some simple exercises that will help you change your life. I have one little secret towards the middle or the end, so stick with me. It's exciting. So, first, let's identify what types of fear that we can come into contact with so that we'll be able to identify which one applies to us, and then we can figure out what steps we need to utilize. Fear is a survival mechanism. It's our brain's way of protecting us from danger, but in this modern life, because we live in a world of technology, there isn't any real danger that is in our way. We don't live in the dinosaur days anymore and having to fear some large animal coming to eat us or, anything like that. So, yes, fear in this world is not a real danger towards our life, but fear is a survival mechanism. So with that being said, it's not life-threatening. Fear could be failure, embarrassment, or just the unknown. These fears hold us back from taking risks, starting new ventures, or speaking up for ourselves. But here, fear should be a signal and not a stop sign. Sidebar. If you're feeling like fear is a stop sign, then you probably need to get some help from a specialist or a professional. I'm not a doctor. I am not a psychologist. I am just somebody who has experienced fear, and these are some of the steps that I utilize to help me overcome. So, something that would be a stop sign would be something like hurting yourself, unaliving yourself, or maybe, just stopping you from coming out of the house, OCD, something of that nature, depression, where you just feel like you can't move anymore or you're stuck at that space. You probably need to contact or get engaged with a specialist. Moving forward, the 3 types of fear that we want to identify first is fear of failure. And with fear of failure, I'll give you a very short story. When I was a phone rep. I was in sales. I was very good at sales. And I wanted to become a manager because I was doing such a great job at being a manager. I thought that I wanted to help people. And when that became an actuality, the fear of failure set in based on the fact that I was a rep transitioning to a manager's position. And I knew the things that people at the rep level were discussing. And I wanted to know how I would be able to communicate as a manager, walking away from some of the peers that I had already had as a rep. That was a very real fear. And what I did to overcome that was I went through all of the managerial steps. I went through the seminars. I went through the training. And then I found a peer at the managerial stage that helped me overcome the fear of failure. And that fear of failure was just being able to communicate and be successful on how to speak to the peers that I was walking away from or growing away from. So with that being said, how I overcame the fear of failure was practice makes perfect. That practice makes perfect in putting myself in a position that I became more confident with being a manager is how I overcame the fear of failure. And then did basically all the things that I was doing as a rep with a new insight of being a manager through all of the steps of training. So that is my short story, walking from one step of my life and taking the next step in overcoming the fear of failure. The second fear that can come up is fear of rejection, which was also a part of that story. Since I had already had the peers at the rep level, I didn't want them to reject me because I was doing something out of the ordinary. This gave me anxiety and it made me feel like I was going to be dismissed or criticized, which I was, as a matter of fact. But overcoming it involves building self-confidence and understanding what the rejection is. And a lot of times what the rejection is when you're being criticized or being dismissed from something is understanding that the other side or the party that you're concerned about or the fear of the rejection that you're getting the rejection from is people uncomfortable with you making a step towards your future and they had not. So once I understood that a lot of the fear, criticism, and judgment that I was getting from fear of rejection was really just those people having difficulty with my next level step, I just moved that off my plate. It was just one of those things that I was like, oh, I'm confident. I've built the confidence. I know that I won't fail because of the confidence that I have now. And now those people have to overcome whatever it is that they have in their life that's making them uncomfortable about my next step. So that was just something that I could move off my plate. The last thing is the fear of unknown. And hey, I'm that girl. Tell me what's happening next. Where are we going? I don't like surprises. I mean, I do like surprises, but if we're work related or you're driving me somewhere, please tell me what is going on. I'm guilty of that. And uncertainty is just that, fear of the unknown is just lack of control, right? A trigger, or unfamiliar situation or changes. Right? So that's what the fear of the unknown is. And overcoming that fear involves focusing and being present and embracing what you have. Having the flexibility to just go through it. That is what the fear of unknown is. So we have the fear of failure, the fear of rejection, and the fear of unknown. And the unknown portion is the only way to get over that is just to go through it. And if you can identify that that is the fear that you're having, then I would urge you to go into the next step. And the next step is going to be visualization. And oftentimes with visualization, we laminate on all of the things that could go wrong. But I urge you in this visualization strategy or tip or exercise to think about the things that will go right. What could potentially happen if I do this? Who would it help? How would it help me? How would I improve? What skill can I upgrade on my resume or just life in general? How could it be a better me, friend, wife, husband, what have you? What things can go right instead of thinking about the things that can go wrong? Let's change that scenario. Step 3 is going to be taking the action. And this is where I'm going to say or share my little one tip. Because I often do a lot of research about what I want to do next, and then I do the research and then I stop right there. I always get to the end and then I stop right there and then try another action, right? And that is because I like a lot of information, but the fear of unknown had kept me from actually applying it. And so in my research, I found one little Chinese proverb or exercise that helped me overcome the fear of unknown and fear in general. And that is a 1-minute exercise. And it's just do it for a minute. And what I did was set a stopwatch. Say I had to read a book that I wasn't really interested in, or I had to call somebody, or there was a project at work that I was just like, oh, I don't want to do this. I did it for a minute, and then you find yourself 10 minutes in, and if you're like me, once you start something, you have to finish it. And that 1 minute, it was just like when I started on my weight journey, just put your sneakers on. And it also falls in line with practice makes perfect. So with that being said, my little secret tip is just do it for a minute. If you do it for a minute and you still like, listen, this 60 seconds is the longest 60 seconds of my life, let it go. Maybe try something else, or maybe a different approach. But if you find yourself 10, 20 minutes in, then it could be a great opportunity for you to really learn this and become expert at it and gain the confidence to overcome this fear. The last step is step 4, and step 4 says change your mindset. And that's the reason why we're here with this video today. We're changing our mindsets, taking control of our lives, and not letting fear overcome us. At the end of the day, the best way that I learned how to change my mindset was diving into my word. If you have a spiritual upline, or if you don't have a spiritual upline, I urge you to find a spiritual upline. And the scripture that helped me the most was be anxious for nothing. That's Philippians 4:6. Be anxious for nothing and go to God in prayer and supplication. And when I started doing that, I realized that he was with me all the time, every step of the way. I just had to get through it and realize that he was with me. Be anxious for anything, and that applies to all things in life. With that being said, tell me, you guys, I've shared some of my work and some of my fears. Tell me, you guys, what's holding you back, or what are the things that you went through to overcome fears? Share your tips and tricks inside of the comments. It's been a pleasure. Again, I'm your host, Sunny, on the MVP Channel 6, sharing my stories and tips, and I hope you had a great day. Thank you for sharing this time with me.